Welcome back, everyone. It's the final match of the day. Who will qualify for BlizzCon? Will it be the Aussies or will it be Japan? Man, I tell you, this game, it's pretty insane. And what's even more shocking is, in my mind, I thought this was actually going to be the match, but just reversed. You know, because I thought Australia was going to come out first and Japan was going to come out second. Boy, was I wrong. But what I'm not wrong about, though, is T-Mobile. That's right, people. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Thank you so much to our partners over there for the support of the 2017 Overwatch World Cup. You know you love it. You know you love it. You love it. They make it happen. That's what's up. Anyway, here we go, guys. We have, I heard that. We have a great game in front of us here. Really, Australia, they were a little beaten up coming out of that game against Sweden.
Yeah, I guess you can say that. However, they had 2 days of absolute dominance. And that's what I'm going to expect from them right here in the finals. I'm pretty sure the crowd does as well.
See, so it's good because you were so worried before about the, people not liking you. And here you go.
Well, I picked Australia now, so they kind of have to like me at this point. I forced them.
And look at that, the crowd cheering them on. Man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right, how are the Japanese team? How are they going to deal with this?
Now, here's the interesting thing, right? We got a little translations coming out from the Japanese team, and Claire, right, the Lucio player for the side of Team Japan, actually want to play against Australia.
Okay.
They're rising up to the challenge, right? And we've seen time and time again, individually, every single player has been stepping it up. Tayo, he's not afraid to take the 1v1s against his Tracer counterparts. We've seen AKTM go up against Taimu. He tried to go McCree up against Taimu, and he wasn't afraid. Now he did eventually get beaten on it, but still, I love that he had that spirit, that fighting spirit.
That confidence, and you're certainly going to need that here, especially against this crowd that will be cheering firmly against you, if you are the Japanese squad. But let's go ahead and take a look at the match results here. Get you guys up to speed on what's been going on this beautiful Sunday here in Sydney. We started off on actually TV of all things. We were on Channel 7 with Australia versus Sweden. Sweden getting the better of the Aussies there, 3-1. Italy versus Portugal, that ended in a 4-0 in favor of the Portuguese. Finland, Japan, 2-2. That matchup was insane. And then you had Spain versus Vietnam, ended in a 4-0. But your team that will be qualifying, or at least one squad that will be qualifying for BlizzCon, is Sweden, as they defeated Spain 3-0 in a best-of-5. And just a reminder, this is a best-of-5. So Japan's going to have, Japan and Australia are going to be duking it out here. And it's all coming down to this. All right, James, we talked about Japan extensively. And we actually, before I get to you, though, because I had a moment there, an old man moment.
Oh, God.
Let's just go ahead and hype this up, because I'm going to need the crowd to give me some noise. It's going to be Japan versus Australia. And you couldn't have asked for a better way to close us out here in Australia. Now, James, I'm going to bring you in. What more do you have for me about this Japanese team? What are they going to be able to do here against Australia?
One of the interesting things is that both of these teams actually come from a very similar region, right? We had Australia competing in OPC. Japan, we've had a player in there competing in the OPC also. But Japan, they have a lot of versatility in AKTM. As we're going to see, he played the Reaper. We had him on the 76 along with the McCree. He just busts out a lot of things. We even got to see, I believe, the Zarya coming out, a Zarya Reaper composition of all things.
And here they come. Team Japan make their way to the stage, led by the ever so charismatic AKTM. As he takes a seat there with the rest of his squad. Tayo right next to him as well. The incredible Tracer play we've seen out of that young man has been awesome. Oh boy. I feel the tension there, but the Japanese squad, they always come out with smiles. You gotta love it. People have been cheering for them because they've been just performing so well. But team that they're really going to cheer for here is the Australians over at Team Australia.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 days have been absolutely amazing for Team Australia. They had so many dominant performances, and Aitor from the team has really been such a playmaker. If not on Soldier, he showed us everything he got on Genji. And today I felt like Trill really stood out. He did a great job on his Winston, kiting, getting those kills. And it's going to be a really good match.
It's going to be a slobber knocker, but here they come, the hometown heroes of Australia in front of this raucous crowd. You gotta love it. This crowd has been electrifying all throughout the weekend, but they specifically make that noise for when the Australians make their way out onto the stage. And they are feeling the pressure, but they have their countrymen, their families, their friends, everyone behind them. Woo! You feel it. Flame. I bet you're glad you don't have to play in front of this crowd if you're going against Australia.
I mean, Japan's had a pretty good amount of support here, I would say. These fans, while they've been biased, they've also been pretty fair. You know, they know who they root for. They haven't been too rude to anybody. I think Japan's felt the love here. You guys have some love for Japan, right? A little bit. We're good.
There's some love. There's some love.
They're clapping. They're excited.
There's
but,
some golf claps.
I mean, you said it before with James. Japan has the confidence, but I think you're going to need a little bit more than confidence to go up against this Australian team and this Australian crowd.
Yeah, and actually, we heard from Sweden and Spain earlier, and we got some spicy comments. I don't imagine it's going to be like that this time around, because we are going to hear from the support players from both sides with Malik over at the stage. Malik, what you got for me?
I got quite a bit for you, Golden Boy. I have Claire from Team Japan and Gumbo from Team Australia up here with me. Oh yes, oh yes. We'll start with you, Gumbo. You guys have been near flawless this entire group stage, so I can only imagine how disappointed you guys were when Sweden snuck up and took that first seed from you guys. Have you been able to go back and kind of assess what went wrong going into this match?
Yeah, we did some research into what some of the problems were, but I don't think this match will be nearly as hard.
Whew. Okay, all right. Now, Claire, you guys came into this group stage pretty much unknown. How's it been making a name for yourself and gaining some fans out there?
正直僕たちも勝てると思ってなかった。なんだろう、僕らは3チームで集まったオリジナルメンバーなんでうまくいい具合に噛み合ってここまで来れたのかなとは思います。
So they didn't think they would make it this far. There's 3 teams, separate teams that have been combined, and they only had little short term to practice. So they're very surprised as well and happy to be here.
All right, and we you know what? It's been great watching you guys. Great watching you guys. So, Gumba, Team Japan has been sneaking up on people. Nobody really knew what to expect from them. Have you guys been able to come up with a plan against these guys?
We know how they win. We know what their strategies are. We've looked at absolutely all of their games. We're totally ready for this.
All right, I love the confidence. I love it. All right, and lastly, Claire, now you're not in front of your home crowd, so I want to give you a chance to kind of talk to the home crowd watching at home. Do you have any words for the people back in Japan, all the fans and supporters?
台湾の OPC でブランクに勝てなかった日本のチームのためにも頑張って勝ちます。
He wants to make this win for the others that couldn't make it here and the ones who didn't win in the Taiwan OPC.
All right, all right. Well, on that note, let's get into the final match of the night, Team Australia versus Team Japan. Take it away, Golden Boy.
Thank you so much, Malik. And, you know, it's great to hear, you know, Japan being humble, but some spiciness out of Australia in front of the home crowd, which I respect the hustle, baby. Keep doing you. But in any case, so guys, this matchup is going to be insane. I can't wait to get into it in just a little while. Just a little while. You know, everyone here wants to get into it, and those viewers at home. All right, any reactions from that interview there, Zoe?
I love the confidence. Gama just like really dry also, right? She's like, yeah, no problem. So I like that. I like that confidence.
It's going to be a tough match. Any way you cut it, it's going to be a tough match for both sides. We don't know what to expect out of Japan, right? They might still have some things in their back pocket. I feel like there's so many hidden things that they might bust out for this matchup, so we'll see.
I mean, also, you know, looking at Japan, they had a chance to see what happens to Australia when they're not winning. So they were able to watch those games and maybe look at some mistakes, maybe look at some cracks in the armor. So let's see if that might actually help them.
It's a potential. Flame, you're going to bring the thunder, you're going to bring the heat. What you got for me?
I got Australia winning in a very convincing 3-0 in my head, but we'll see what happens. You know, Japan has potential. I want the crowd. You got to have the crowd behind you.
And they're saying I'm the shill. Unbelievable.
Unlimited winning for Australia right now.
Unlimited winning for Australia. All right. Well, guys, here we go. It is Australia facing off against Japan. Let's go ahead and send it over to your commentators. It's Doa and Monte Cristo.
Hey guys, Doa and Monte Cristo here for our final match of the Overwatch World Cup group stage here in Sydney, and I cannot think of a better way to conclude things. Australia versus Japan. Winner goes to BlizzCon, and both of these teams have been looking so good this week, but in very different ways.
Yeah, I gotta jump off of that, Doa. Australia looks very practiced with their team compositions, but haven't necessarily had the flexibility. Japan, they've been playing with a large hero pool. They've been running interesting strats. Last time we saw them on King's Row earlier today, it was with a speed-boosted Reaper into point A, not something that's very common. So you can see Japan maybe taking some games off the back of their creative strategies if Australia isn't ready and isn't expecting them.
I love it, man. It's the wild card versus the well-practiced, well-oiled machine. This is so great. Japan, I love the insanity with these guys. The aggression, the flexibility, the crazy off-meta picks. And Australia, like you mentioned, just so practiced, so stable. This is just a great matchup on paper as well as just like from what we've seen already. It's hype, you know?
This is the fruition of months and months of practice as a six-man unit for Australia. Japan, and we heard them in the interview, came from 3 different teams, but you can tell that all the players have a great fundamental understanding of Overwatch.
Oh, yeah.
Even when they pull out something weird, everybody knows how to play around it.
Absolutely. So it looks like we have Japan on the attack first. Australia will defend here on King's Row in the first map in this best of 5. Once more, the winner goes to BlizzCon. They will join Sweden, who just qualified over Spain a few minutes ago.
That's right, and as we look at this initial defense, Doa, you can see that Gunba is posted up in the upper window on the Ana. They are potentially expecting that Reaper to come out again, trying to punish it with a high ground defense, but Japan is not going to play that game. It will be a standard high mobility dive composition from them.
Yep.
So we'll see where Gunba's going to move if he is going to drop back down onto the low ground.
I mean, this is the dangerous thing about Japan, right? Is you never really know what you're going to face. And there's AKTM, of course, such a superstar on that McCree, on that Genji, on basically anything he wants to play. And he's going after Ana. A little bit of trouble for Gunba already. Gets low, gets taken out, but they did take down AKTM in return. Couple kills for Australia. Japan struggling a little bit to take this point early on.
Yeah, they are, Doa. They got Gunba, but they committed so much to it that the rest of the team from Japan gets wiped. That will give him enough time to make it back to the point. So decisive Japan. Couldn't get a read on that initial situation, and a great biotic grenade allows Gunba to at least get AKTM low and the rest of the team.
Yep, that's right. So Japan back to the drawing board, back to organizing their next push. Australia seems ready. AKTM has to watch out for that Tracer. Aijump has been so good on that all week long. The duel in the hallway. Kiki actually knocked out of the mech by Tayo. Good start for Japan. Aijump gets a kill on Declare though. Tayo responds with a kill on Kiki. Kills on both sides now. Tayo with another one onto Trill, who's been so good on that Winston this week. Tayo trying to chase more down to Japan, starting to really get an edge on the point.
That might have been an over-adjustment from the Australian side to try and push out the members of Japan, because they chased inside the hotel a few members, but everyone else from Japan came and isolated them from the point. Soundbarrier going to go down. Can Australia come back and recapture?
Oh, they've got to hold on. They're scrambling. That control meter nearly filled up for Japan. D'Arton going to go ahead and use the Primal Rage to try to keep Australia backed up into that hallway. Transcendence from Yos as well, just to try to give Japan that edge. And do they have enough? It's so close. Sound Barrier comes in from Claire now, and there's AKTM with the Dragon Blade. A kill onto Kiki. It's still back and forth, but Japan may just barely have enough. If they can take out Trill, if they do, that's a big step. But Ader not done yet on that Soldier 76. Oh, but he can't quite hold it, and Japan will get the payload moving.
A lot of commitment from both teams, but Japan slightly more patient with their support ultimate. They're going to hold on to the point for now, take it, and they will start moving on through the streets phase here on King's Row.
Oh, what's AKTM switching to? Okay, it's going to be a Soldier 76. Makes sense. for the switch over into the streets phase. Tayo, he has been so good on that tracer, finding a lot of tricky pulse bombs, looking for another one now.
And Yos is going to be switching to the Ana as well. The Nano Boost going to start things off for Australia.
All right, pulse bomb not doing a whole lot for Tayo there. They need to take out this Winston. Trill all powered up with the Nano Boost, stopping Japan, but not for long as Jasper finishes him off. Australia has to pull back. Do you think maybe that was a little bit of an overcommitment here? They're still going for it.
I mean, Japan just fell back to the payload. Biotic Grenade going to hit multiple members on that front line. Tayo
big one.
will get the recall, and they're going to try and push through with this tactical visor.
Yeah, AKTM, meanwhile, still building up his. He's going to pop Kiki out of the mech again, and now that both tanks are out of the way, yeah, Trill's probably coming back soon, but Japan, you can see, taking up those forward positions. That shield probably ended up saving RQ, oh well, almost saved RQT, I guess that. In the end, not quite doing it.
That was a lot of ults for Australia to really not stop the cart at all in that fight. And Japan was ready, just fell back beyond the choke point against the Winston, healed up. And Japan, they've been doing so well with the Ana play, combining Dearton and his zoning with Yos on the front line, or with the Nano Boost to put him into the front line. And can they make that space again?
Last-ditch effort from Australia as Japan nears the end of point B. There's a pulse bomb on Jasper. IH2 up, grabs a kill there. Self-destruct thrown in by Japan, though that caught the tracer in the return. Tayo, meanwhile, throws in the pulse bomb. Doesn't get a whole lot out of it, though. Now AKTM, tac visor, nano boost as well, but he's fighting that nano boosted Winston as well. Trill just pushing away the Soldier 76. Not a lot of damage coming out from Japan, and Australia looks like they will be able to stabilize for the moment.
That was one of the rare times we've actually seen a nano boost onto AKTM Soldier. We're trying to get for a lot of those big kills, but the boost coming back immediately, zoned out of that fight. So sort of trading a couple ultimates there for no gain.
That payload's moving. Dearton a little bit low, but he's got the Biotic Grenade on him. Can get healed up pretty quick. Oh, meanwhile, IH2 up with 2 kills on the Australia side. Japan struggling a little bit to finish this point B. And now they gotta run. Atar has the tac visor popped, but Japan falling back pretty easily.
Yeah, zoned out of the fight by the tac visor, so Australia will have a chance to reset here. IU up is doing a lot of work right now. That's twice he's actually killed Jasper to start off the fight, leaving Japan without much protection. And also, crucially, in the first fight, took him out while he was using the self-destruct, so couldn't remech, which might have pushed Japan over the top.
Yep.
Australia looking good, though. Have some time here. Have the nano boost to put onto Trill.
Australia looked a little bit overwhelmed by that early aggression from Japan, and to be fair, Japan has really caught a lot of teams unaware with just how crazy they can be on offense, but But Australia seems to have kind of found the balance. Another nano boost comes in. Oh, but that's 2 kills from the pulse bomb of IU up. And just when it looked like Japan could start pushing this payload again, Australia comes right back with the defense.
IU up has been the difference maker for Australia here on point B. They're getting aggressive now, pushing all the way back into the spawn. They are going to get the D suit. That means we may have to see a reset from the Japanese side for their Diva suit.
Yeah, that's what Jasper just did. Swap to the Orisa for just a moment, swap back to get that Diva suit up and running again. Now, Japan has a few ultimates, 4 to be exact, but they're down to just 20 seconds or so left in this attack round. It's do or die time, and man, if Australia stops them here, it's going to be really tough for Japan to stop Australia from winning this first map.
And where is Yos's nano boost going to go? Is it going to go onto the Soldier again? He's harassed as he makes it around the corner. Self-destruct goes down. Australia has the sound barrier.
Oh, that's a sleep onto Trill. He nearly died, had to use that Primal Rage. And again, pushing back AKTM with that tac visor. Trill has been so good at zoning him out. Meanwhile, the rest of Australia dismantles the Japanese team. And despite that kill on the Gunba, despite the nano boost on Dearton, it looks like Australia will hold the payload right here. Great defensive start by Australia.
Absolutely fantastic. Trill and IEU up, the heroes. The targeting onto the support line from IEU up, really shutting down the heals. And we saw how Trill was focusing down AKTM throughout that, denying him any kind of meaningful ultimates. So good zone control, and it looks like we're seeing from Australia really a man-to-man defense, trying to shut down the key components of the Japanese team.
Well, remember, in that pregame interview, Gunba said, you know, we watched all their games, we know what they do, we really feel like we're ready for that, and I think they absolutely proved it in that round. I mean, just like you said, Trill always prepared to force out AKTM, knew exactly when those ultimate cooldowns were coming in, knew when the attack visor was going to be up. And Japan, you know, for probably the first time in this tournament, really having a hard time on one of their offensive rounds.
Yeah, that was great zoning against AKTM. Fantastic. 2 attack visors, one of them nano boosted, denied. So no big kills were actually possible for the Japanese team, and they're going to be held in a pretty shallow push here on Kings Row.
Golden opportunity for Australia to get the early lead in this best of 5 as well, to stop Japan just before point B. And if there's one thing that Japan has struggled on a little bit over the course of the week, it's been the defense. So Australia, you know, I think they can absolutely take advantage of this. I fully expect them to win this one.
Yeah, I agree, too. I think Japan has been at their best when they're able to push very far forward on the map and create massive zones for the payload to move through. When they're having to play reactively, when they're having to fall back against enemy ultimates, they haven't looked quite as good.
That's right. And I just got to say, I ate you up that last round. Really
monster performance.
Stellar Tracer play, man. That was his best round of the tournament yet. And this is definitely the round you want to have those kind of performances.
That's right. Leave it all here tonight. You won't have to compete again until BlizzCon on the World Cup stage, at least.
More time for practice. Here we go, Australia, though. Time to perform. They are going in on their offensive round here on Kings Row. Only have to push it most of the way to point B to take the map. Gun buff on the high ground there. Here comes the dive from Japan. AKTM gets that early kill. RQT responding. Australia coming out slightly ahead in the kills. ATAR does go down, though, so it looks like Japan may be able to hold for now. Well, we'll see.
They got close supports, Dawn.
The tank line for Australia coming in hard.
Yeah, they were. A lot of the healing was cut off from the Japanese side right after the start of that fight.
Guess so. Man, this is going to be an extremely fast point A take. And with so much time on the clock now, they're going to have about, Japan coming back.
Well, they want to contest this, at least get a few ultimates out of the attack.
Claire with 2 right off the bat. How does that happen? Japan actually pulling ahead in this defensive fight. I ate you up with a kill onto the Lucio. Maybe this is the opportunity for Australia to close it up, but RQT on the run already. And are you kidding me? Japan has managed to hold point A for the moment anyway.
Yeah, just rushing forward onto the point. It looked like the last possible second will deny the actual cap. AKTM coming up on a Dragon Blade right now. Australia needs to be judicious with their sound barrier use. Save that, put it in their pocket, make sure that it's going to work against the Genji ult.
Well, they're going to go ahead and use it right away instead. Trill with the early kill onto Yo, so it's a good start. And ATAR, let's see what he can get with that tac visor. Has to run from the self-destruct, but he comes around the back. More kills coming in for Australia, and they're looking pretty well situated to close it out now.
AKTM died quickly enough that he didn't even get to his Dragon Blade. So crisis averted. Australia taking the initiative and covering the Soldier 76 during his own tac visor. Instead of going for the denial, the Yos will get a pick.
It has not been a safe tournament for Tracers against the Zenyatas, man. I think in terms of like that hero versus hero matchup in the Sydney stage, Zenyatta definitely taking that one.
Well, yeah, but
hashtag no bias.
Then there's the Sombra problem, right, with some of these teams.
That's right. We're not talking about Sombra. Zen mains don't want to talk about that. Australia on the push right now. Trill has that ultimate if he needs to use it. Japan went ahead and dropped that Transcendence as they went in for a little bit of an aggressive defense here, but IHUP is having none of it, man. Kill onto Yos as soon as the Transcendence is over. You know, pop Jasper out of that mech, why not? Australia taking the lead in this one.
And not only that, AKTM used the Dragon Blade to no effect. They had the cover of Claire's sound barrier, but it just wasn't enough with the amount of damage flowing onto the cart. Trill still here, just chasing Tracer down. Tayo.
I love watching Trill's Winston. It's one of the best aggressive Winstons I think I've seen in a long time. I mean, he knows his limits really, really well. He's extremely aggressive. Yeah, this is kind of like Miro-style Winston play, if I could compare it.
Yeah, he is playing pretty far forward, and he maintains his ultimate well, too.
Yeah.
Had that Primal Rage throughout the entire engagement. Knew with the Transcendence he was going to heal up anyway, so he wouldn't have to use it.
Yeah, just really, really knows his limits. And now that payload getting very close to where Australia needs to get it to win this map. Trill going in again, gets booped pretty deep. puts down the shield, has to wait it out for just a moment to get the heals. He's got the sound barrier though. Nice jump in onto Yos. That's exactly what we were talking about. And there's the Primal Rage to try to push Japan back, get that payload just a bit farther. They're nearly there. Another kill onto Tayo, and that payload is so close. Claire goes down. And there's the salute, because I think this is the end of the map. Goodbye, Diva. Doesn't matter if you're in your suit. Map's over. Australia takes Kings Row.
And Australia is really digging into the weaknesses of Japan.
Absolutely.
Even when Japan won their first map this weekend, going up against Spain, I said their tank line sometimes gets too far in front.
Yep.
They're playing too aggressively, and this time you see Trill has changed up his tactics. He's diving into the way back and focusing down Yos. He drops the bubble for himself only on the backside of those attacks, and he's finding that these supports are just left all alone and then whittling them down with the Tesla cannon.
Well, that's the thing. The flip side of the extreme aggression from Team Japan really leaves their backline exposed, and Australia doing a great job of taking advantage of that. They're going to pull out ahead in this best of 5.
Yeah, this is what teams needed, I think, to beat Japan. You have to drive that wedge between their supports and their tank line and punish them for the lengthy lines of players that they make. And we're seeing that because I really think that when we look at Jasper, he's not in the back line enough. He's not reactive enough. He's sort of glued to Dearden's side most of the time.
Pretty much. On board with Trill once again as we check out some highlights from that last round. Again, like, I didn't know a lot about Trill coming into this tournament, but he is now absolutely one of my favorite Winstons. No doubt.
He's won you over, Doa.
This guy's so good. He really has. You know, I mean, he's got that aggression. But again, it's not just the aggression. Any Winston can be aggressive. Any Winston can dive in. But to know your limits, to know exactly when you need to get out, to know exactly where you need to place that force field, he knows that, and we can see the benefits.
Yeah, I think that last fight when we were watching it was really indicative. A lot of Winstons will be trying to drop the shield somewhere around the cart to deny. But if you have an idea that they didn't, they came into that last fight with a big ult advantage, they knew that there wasn't going to be a whole lot of threat from Japan. But if you know that, then go ahead, just protect yourself and torture the backline supports. And
yeah,
that was, I think they may have Japan figured out, though. They may be the first team in this tournament to get that good read. We'll see if they can sustain it for a few more maps, or if Japan's going to try and tighten up their team composition and just placement on the map a little bit better.
Well, they've certainly had the time to observe. Japan, of course, has been sort of the breakout performance on the team level in this group stage, and that definitely paints a big target on your back too. And Australia so far seems to have their number. We're going to move on to Lijiang Tower for a control map best of 3. And this is where things get a little bit messy. This is where things get to be a bit more of a brawl, a bit more of a scuffle, fisticuffs, if you will. A kerfuffle, that's right.
Well, I think that this one is going to be better for Japan because it's harder to make those kind of positional mistakes on control because you have to be on that point. So this is where Japan might come out and surprise us. And I do think that for Japan's sake, at least there are 2 control maps in this best of 5 if we go to the 5th match here, the 5th map.
Right. That might be an edge for Japan if it comes down to it. We'll see. Australia coming in on the blue, Japan in the red. As we move on to Gardens, our first round here on Lijiang Tower. Atar taking a defensive place on the outside, gets a little bit of a heads-up shot on the Tayo there. Forces him away. You need to be careful, though. As Soldier, you're pretty vulnerable in this spot.
Trying to force their way into the back house right now, and they will find Claire.
That's a great start for Australia. Another kill comes in. Tayo does go down. Atar low health, but they barely keep him alive. And a resounding team fight win for Australia. They will claim this point first, but a little bit of revenge from beyond the team grave, if you will, from Yos.
And the call from Australia there was good. When they saw AKTM on their side of the map, far away poking on the Genji, that's when they knew they could attack that front line instantly of Japan. Japan getting a little too close without having the support from one of their flankers.
That's right.
And they get punished for it.
I eat you up. Pretty close to that pulse bomb. Has to watch for that opposing tracer. Where's Tayo? There he is on the outside. Has a Discord orb on him. Had to use hit recall. That's the cue for Eat You Up to go in. Meanwhile, the point is being contested. Nice 1v1. I Eat You Up winning that one. Meanwhile, kills coming in. There's the stick. onto the Winston on Japan's side. Dearton, though, pops that Primal Rage to survive it, making the most of it, too. And it looks like Japan may actually be coming out ahead in this fight.
Yeah, that chase from IEU may have gone on a bit long while the rest of the team was brawling on the point. Trill trying to buy time right now. They will get it till about 50%. But it seems like it will switch eventually and go into Japan's favor.
Okay, so Gunba took down AKTM at the very end of that fight. So with the respawns, if Australia, now it looks like they can't get their respawns back fast enough, so they will need to just straight back up, regroup, get situated to try to attack the point again.
Yeah, Primal Rage doing some delay tactics right there, but it does leave Australia without it for this next fight. They're going to try and engage very aggressively.
Yeah, super aggro sound barrier coming in. There's the self-destruct for Japan. That's going to eat a lot of that time. Tayo does go down, though. Japan down that crucial tracer pick, and here comes Atar with the tactical visor. Needs to stay alive. He's going to do that with the Transcendence from Gunpa, and they're fighting forward. Kiki with the kill onto Jasper's mech now. Japan losing some of that front line.
And they're hunting Mini Diva right now. Just going to clean that one up and flip the point.
There we go.
That was a great hold from RQT on the sound barrier, waiting for AKTM to get the Dragon Blade. And we've seen it time and time again. Atar wants to delay that tac visor until he knows he's got those clear shots.
Yeah.
So Australia gets a back up to 56% now, and they have maintained this lead so far this entire game.
Well, it's a pretty even percentage so far between both teams. Australia pulling into the lead, but Japan pretty close behind. Not a lot of ults to work with, though, on the retake.
Well, Japan had to use everything on that last fight when it comes to ultimates, and they still lost Doa, so Australia in a great position.
Well, they lose Gunba early on. There's the ultimate from RQT coming in a little bit, well, actually just in time, and Japan just going to reset fast. That was real quick.
That was very fast. Gunba has been getting the key kills so far on Garden. At the start of that fight, what forced Japan to use so many ultimates was losing a member early to that Zenyatta.
Yep.
It has been a standout feature of the Overwatch World Cup in general. If the Zenyatta gets that pick, it can be disastrous for the enemy team.
99, we're into overtime right now. Japan, desperation as they try to get into the points. Trill pops that Primal Rage to stay alive one more time. Aitra pops Jasper out of the mech. Good start for Australia here, rather. Another kill on Dearton. No tanks available for Japan at the moment. Transcendence for both teams. Japan fighting short-handed here as they try to take this point back, but no, it's not going to happen. Atar with the kill on AKTM. All the kills going the way of Australia, and they will take Garden and take a lead here on Lijiang Tower.
The patience is there for Atar. He's using his ultimate to win these fights on the backside. The support ults, the communication, everything going Australia's way right now.
You can hear those Australian fans cheering their hearts out for the hometown heroes. You know, I feel like it should be equal. Like, Japan should have a cheer, too. Like Japan, 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 hi, hi, hi. Something like that, you know.
Actually, you know, it's interesting because, of course, in Japanese baseball games, they have all of the predetermined cheers, right?
Yeah, there you go.
So, but I don't know if the national team has one.
I don't know any of those, though. We'll figure it out. If they get the BlizzCon, we'll figure it out. Well, here we go. On to our second round on Lijiang Tower. Looks like it's going to be Control Center. Japan, of course, again in the red. Australia in the blue as they rush the point. AKTM on that Soldier 76 this time. Firing a little bit down that hallway. A lot of that damage absorbed, though, by Kiki on the side of Australia.
And we haven't seen any really unique strats from Japan yet. They're still trying to play this pretty standard.
Yeah.
They're going to force Australia outside of the center of the map. Kiki going to zip back in on that Diva and try and provide some room for his team.
Now kills on both sides coming in. AKTM still looking for a little bit more. The aggression from Japan not quite panning out like they'd hoped. Gunba on that Sombra this time around, so a little bit of a switch up for Australia as they fight over the point. Japan does get it first. A little bit of control percent building as Tayo gets a couple crucial kills. And Australia may need to regroup here.
And they are going to be forced back off the point. Goes in Japan's favor.
Yeah.
Gunba has been moving more and more to the Sombra as this tournament has dragged on. Does have the EMP up. So pair it with Atar. If he gets some more poke down, has that tactical visor, eliminate the defenses of Japan.
Yep, Tayo very, very low. Oh, he gets hacked, gets taken out. There is that EMP from Gunba. Australia storming in to try to retake this point. Atar with the kill onto Tayo. That is big. And they've got most everybody there. AKTM, though, not deterred quite yet. He's got the tac visor. Does he dare use it right now? He does. He pulls it out. Oh, gets a nano boost, too. This could be dangerous. No, but there's a pulse bomb from Tayo. Atar does go down. So close to flipping the point. And with that sound barrier, maybe they'll be able to do it. You know, they probably didn't need that Lucio ult, actually. They'll get some control percent building, but that may be a defensive ult they wanted to save.
I think they did want to save it, Doa, but AKTM really misplayed that tac visor with the D.Va and the Winston right in his face. Not only that, but Yo's dumped the nano boost onto him as well. They've switched it up for the last match with Yo's committing his ultimate to the Soldier instead of the Winston, as we've seen so frequently throughout this World Cup.
Japan, honestly, despite the kills they're getting here early on, seem to be forced a little bit out of their element. They look uncomfortable, and Australia's been taking advantage of it. That said, this fight starting up pretty good for Japan. IHU up, trying to equalize. Atar does go down, though, so Japan still with the majority on the point for the moment. Here comes the response. Here comes the self-destruct. That's a kill onto Claire from Kiki.
EMP is here, too. Doa gets the hack. That's going to be no defensive matrix for Jasper. He is easily desuited.
And here comes the spawn.
How long are they willing to push this, though? This can be dangerous when you get back quickly on control. Won't be a risk right now.
Nope.
And Gonba, he and Atar can team up for this one. He's going to run onto the high ground, hack the mega health pack for his teammate.
Yeah.
And then push all the way back. Translocating and then see where he decides to post up after this.
Here we go. Pulse bomb comes in. Oh, IHU up not finding the kills he was looking for that time. Bit of an optimistic ultimate, a little bit of frustration you can see there too. Self-destruct comes in from Australia, from Japan rather. And did they actually just flip it? Japan somehow getting in there and just pushing Australia off the point long enough to take it. And they will win the ensuing fight, it looks like, unless Gunba with the EMP able to minimize that D.Va's effect, and Australia comes back. Man, the fights in this match have been back and forth.
They have been, Doa, and it's been the EMP that has been the decider on the back of these fights. Japan will commit all in when they get a pick, but that leaves so many people getting hit by the EMPs in this engagement.
Yeah.
And once those abilities are down, Australia will instantly focus the D.Va, and their target selection simply better in the cleanup.
Wow, such an even round again, but Australia once more pulling into the lead here, and this is their opportunity. Japan, only really that tac visor to work with in terms of ultimates. Maybe the sound barrier pretty soon, but it's dire straits for Japan. They need to make something happen right now.
Well, by the time the sound barrier up, so will be the EMP, Doa, unless Gunba meets an early demise.
Well, so far so good. Firing away at Yos, gets very, very low. Crucial kill for Australia. Meanwhile, Japan grabbing a couple of their own. They're going to drop the sound barrier, but EMP could be big. Gunba looking for an opportunity. They're going to let this one go, though, and that's probably smart. Gunba knew he didn't have the rest of his team with him. Better to save that ult. Oh, Trill goes down in the back, though. That actually is going to slow things down a lot. We could really see 99 to 99 here.
Yeah, now we're in that scenario. Australia's going to have to take this a little bit faster than they want.
Yep. Awkward push incoming from Australia.
No time really to deal with a lot of extensive poking. They're waiting for Gunba to get in position, and he's going to pop the EMP.
Nice kill on the AKTM to start things off. Perfect EMP from Gunba. Meanwhile, there goes to Lucio. Ooh, it's staying alive for the moment, but not long enough. IHU up with 2 kills there. We're into OT. Australia trying to flip it back.
Jasper low, though. Can they desuit the D.Va? Australia still on the point. Kiki trying to get his mech back.
I think they've got it. Self-destruct. They just need to dodge it. AKTM! Oh, double kill with the Helix rocket. Japan needed that. And the tac visor from Atar, not enough. Japan may be able to equalize right here. There's overtime, and they will. We are going to round 3 on Lijiang Tower.
Jasper had the self-destruct to resuit right as he was popped out of the mech, which proved a crucial difference because Atar simply couldn't get the damage down during the tac visor with the defensive matrix in his face. Also still had the tac visor and the nano boost of their own. An extremely back and forth match.
Dude, that double kill with the Helix rocket from behind right at the very end for AKTM. They were so focused on the point, they just didn't see that soldier coming. You know, at the end of those matches, sometimes the respawns come a little bit quicker. then you may be thinking about.
And in this meta, de-suiting the diva is so important. And that's what Tayo did to Kiki, right?
True.
To start that one off. So less protection for Australia over the point.
True enough. Well, here we go. Night Market. The winner of Li Zhangtar will be decided right here, right now, on this round. Yo's on the Zenyatta this time, on board with Gunba, as Australia tries to move towards the point. Japan taking the early positioning out there. Ooh, gotta watch out for Tayo. Yo's, though, gets the kill on the Gunba. Meanwhile, Atar strikes back. Japan with some of the early kills, but Australia could equalize. In fact, they will.
Atar still looking, gets healed up on the other side of that wall. They've already de-suited Jasper, so
that's
they
big.
can chase him down and get the Tracer as well as Atar dashes and slashes.
Now Darton trying to stay on the point for as long as he can. That's not going to be enough. Australia takes the point early. They're going to get that control percent building.
Wow, that looked really bad for Australia. Yo's with the pick onto the enemy Zenyatta. Gunba falling early, but fortunately the Australians committing the other direction immediately to answer pick for pick.
That's right. Japan with an opportunity to take this one back. We'll see if they can. Atar's been very, very good this week. Gotta watch out, very low, has that Orb of Discord on him. Trill gets a kill onto Yo's. Good start for Australia. Make that
both supports down.
Oh, man.
Again, maybe the tanks from
There's
Japan a little bit too far forward because the support's unprotected and dying simultaneously in that back line.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like we said on King's Road. Trill is just doing such a fantastic job of taking advantage of the supports being exposed on the side of Japan.
And it's extra dangerous now. We're going to see the classic stand on a sign and shoot people with electricity.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's got the Primal Rage.
Uh-oh, this could be bad for Japan. Run, Primal Raging Winston. He wants to knock you off the edge, but he can't quite get there. Sound Barrier, though. Another opportunity, maybe. Oh, that's close. Did he get any of them? He knocked off Tayo. Meanwhile, AKTM comes in the kill on the Tracer for the Australia side. Sound Barrier for Japan. And Australia's trying to hold it. Japan, though, with a lot of presence on this point. It could be tough. In fact, it will be.
RQT just going to delay now. He knows the battle has been lost. They couldn't get enough done with that Primal Rage. Used a lot of resources to try and get more knockoffs in that situation, including the Sound Barrier when it was really only Trill that was getting damaged. But it's okay. They actually make it all the way to 88%. So really, one team fight win is all they need. And they're going to be super happy that they still have the transcendence to fight, to grind it out on the point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, at this point, Australia does not need to be all that worried. Just play it patiently, build up whatever you need to build in all departments, and then get in there. They're going to try. Trill getting aggressive.
Okay.
Wow, fast kill onto Yo's. There's the transcendence. Self-destruct comes in. Nice block. With the shield, Trill looking for a little bit more now. Kunba goes down as well. Japan striking back. RQT taken out. So Australia without their supports. Let's see if they can just kind of brawl this one into a victory. But no, Japan able to hold the point right now. And they'll keep that control percent building.
Australia really needed to win that fight, though.
Yeah,
Gunba used the transcendence, and both he and RQT still went down. Tayo sneaking his way back there to pick up those 2 kills. And now Japan, they've got the Dragon Blade. They're approaching a trance and a sound barrier of their own. I think they're going to drive this all the way to 99.
Seems like they are. And here comes the Dragon Blade, and there goes the supports for Australia. Japan with another resounding defensive win here. And Australia, okay, now you can start to sweat a bit. You've lost the last couple of fights, and Japan didn't really need to expend much at all to do that.
This is a really crappy match to be a support, though.
It is. I'm a support main. I know how it is. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Nobody's living very long here. Both teams focusing specifically on dealing with the enemy backline.
A pulse bomb annihilating those plastic chairs. Never saw it coming. Trill trying to get the kill here onto Darton. Very, very low. This would be big. Oh, the Transcendence comes in just in time for Yo's. Atar falls in the back line now. The sound barrier comes
nearly
in for Japan.
completed.
Oh, that was so close. Australia nearly snuck it away, but now Japan trying to put the finishing touches on this one. We're into overtime. Jasper with the kill onto the Lucio on the Australia side, and Australia in a lot of trouble here. IEJUP taken down, and Atar with that Dragon Blade not able to get enough. And it looks like Japan may take Li Zhangtar. In fact, Oh, they will. Australia couldn't get there in time, and we are all tied up.
And this is our first non-3-0 playoff match at the Overwatch World Cup so far, Dylan. So I'm excited.
Me too, man.
At the very least, we saw, again, both supports dying at the same time. That time, it was Jasper getting into Australia's back line. So Japan's adapted, and they're trying to punish the Australian supports as well. It is heavy backline dive here in Sydney.
It was really close, and a lot of action yet to come. We're going to toss it to a quick break, guys, and when we come back, Japan and Australia continue to fight it out for that last spot at BlizzCon to come from the Sydney World Cup stage. We'll be back right after this.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
All that grows must also wither and die. What dies and rots will then nourish the living. This is the great cycle of being, and we, the priests of Rathma, use our dark art to protect it. Though most do not understand us, we go where we are needed. My master has learned that a star fell in the west, drawing the dead from their graves. He commands me to journey to Tristram and return them to their rest. For if the cycle is not upheld, it would mean the end of all things.
Welcome back, everyone, to halftime here for this incredible game between Australia and Japan. We're knotted up at 1-1. Japan answering back in the control game, and that is going to give them their first victory here. So we're guaranteed plenty more Overwatch, which for the Australian fans, I'm sure they're not too enthusiastic about. They wanted the 3-0, but for I think fans of Overwatch, you just want to see these two teams just continue to play and play and play. Couldn't ask for a better game. All right. Let's talk about Kings Row. Zoe.
Oh.
I mean, that was...
That's a good one to throw to me, because I was super impressed with Australia's performance right there. Thank you. I caught it. No, it was actually really, really impressive to watch how Australia played that one. They really forced their tempo, their game onto Japan, and Japan didn't really have a response to it. Trill's engages and disengages, the way he read the game was absolutely fantastic, and really, 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 like, I don't know, it was fantastic. It was impressive. I loved it.
You know, we talked a lot about ATAR. This was the Trill highlight show. Throughout the event, we've talked about ATAR, but this particular round in Kings Row was the Trill highlight show. But now we shift our focus over to Japan here, because in control, James, we saw Japan really answer back despite some great engagements.
Yeah, initially after Kings Row, I was going to say Japan needs to adjust their style, play a more counter-diving style. Once Trill jumps in, go ahead and throw the Orb of Discord onto him and then try to focus him down. No, instead they went full-on aggression. You kept seeing AKTM on that Genji get into the back line, continually by himself getting both supports. So they went the complete opposite direction, and it worked out for them.
Yeah, I mean, that said, I do think that a lot of this did come down to the map picks. Japan has been continually impressive on these control maps, and Australia's actually been picking Kings Row the entirety of this tournament, and they've been undefeated on it, so it's really no surprise what happened there. I will say, though, that IE2up seemed to be struggling a little bit or he seemed to be doing a lot better on Kings Row in particular, and I didn't really see much of Tayo. But as we got forward more into that match, you could definitely tell that Tayo stepped it up. And AKTM again on that Genji is something that I do not know if anybody can really deal with. We saw ATAR do the exact same thing on Night Market, but I mean, AKTM brought it to him, and that was that.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly did, and it was very impressive from the Japanese team, without a doubt. But the Australians, you know, I mean, let's be honest here. This is a very strong team, and they're not out of it at all. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way as well. Seems they do. Oh, can I try the Aussie, Aussie, Aussie thing? Yeah, okay, so how do I do it? Aussie, Aussie, Aussie? Okay, I don't know the rest of it, though, so I'm really sorry. Aussie, 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 Aussie? Aussie, Aussie? All right, and on that note, let's go ahead and, oh my, meet the Australian team.
My name's Andrew Hawes. I play by the name RQT, and I'm representing Australia.
My name's Ashley Powell, and my in-game name is Trill, and I'm representing Australia in the Overwatch World Cup.
In terms of our team ending up representing Australia, I think most people would have expected our team to represent the country, but even then, like, the committee went through a process of us playing against some of the other Australian teams to just make sure, check back in to see, since we were overseas in Taiwan. But yeah, we ended up winning that, and that's why we're here today.
We've been a team for quite a while, and we've been the top team in Australia for quite a long time. So the committee thought it was the best thing to do is just send our whole team, so we keep the synergy and the teamwork.
My goal is to just try and top our group, which I believe we do have the possibility to do, because we have been a team for so long, and some of these other teams haven't. I think that'll be an advantage we have, and just our results of recent have been really fantastic. So we've got a lot of confidence coming into our home country to play these teams.
Yeah, I think we've been constantly improving, especially in Taiwan. There was a huge learning experience. Like, we've learned actually a lot, and I think we're only getting better as well.
I think our standout is no surprise. It's always been I Eat You Up on the just DPS role. He doesn't even just play DPS when we need it. He also played tanks like Zarya, but he's always been effective, and he never shies away from a Tracer battle, and he usually wins them. So that'll be really good to see the other teams try and face off against Eat You Up.
Being here and representing Australia just feels so much better. Like, we got the home ground. Hopefully the crowd's cheering for us, but yeah, it feels really cool.
It really makes us proud that we can do all this stuff and represent the country as a whole.
Yeah, I feel like it's our responsibility to, like, show off to the other teams that, hey, like, Australia is serious. We can take it to them and beat them and be taken as, like, a serious region.
Fired. Literally fired.
Yeah, actually, I missed the last part on that one. I'm really sorry, guys. Can we try one more time? All right, here we go. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. 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 Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. I did it right? I did it right. Oh, that was a dream come true. We did that one. We can end the event. Saved.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, guys.
You're all welcome.
You know, I couldn't have done it without you. All right, well, guys, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to break down Game 3 and beyond, because we certainly have a great matchup in front of us. It's Australia versus Japan, and you're not going to want to miss this. We'll see you on the other side.
The Overwatch World Cup is brought to you by Omen by HP, T-Mobile, and Blizzard Entertainment.
Always remember that power is a double-edged blade. One side light, the other dark. It calls to you when you are most desperate. When victory seems worth any sacrifice. There is a price to be paid for such a gift. And many eagerly accept the bargain. The righteous and the meek may recoil at its cost. But they have no vision. Power alone is not to be feared. Fear instead those who wield it.
Welcome back, everyone, to the desk here as we break down this Australia versus Japan matchup, currently tied at 1-1 if you're just joining us here. Now, Australia has to find a way to respond, Zoe. What do you think they're going to do here?
Honestly, I mean, the same like in the game against Sweden, they looked significantly weaker when they played with Gamba on Sombra. So I kind of hope they're gonna like switch off of that, and they just have to continue to harass the backline of Team Japan, because they really had their supports exposed, and Trill did a really, really good job already the first 2 games. So I just hope they're gonna continue that pressure and that tempo.
What about for you, James?
I'm kind of expecting actually Australia to stick with Gamba on the Sombra. He was just starting to get a bit more comfortable on it on Lijiang Tower, but the thing is that you have to be careful when you run that Sombra. A lot of people have been running Reaper into it, and we have seen Japan run Reaper. So I fully expect if it goes to Volskaya, we're going to see AKTM on that Reaper.
Interesting. And Flame, what do you have for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it comes down to this map in particular, because we have seen that Japan can bring it on the control maps, and we've also seen that Japan does struggle a little bit with more of the escort hybrid maps. So I do think that this is going to be the tide turner. This map will probably decide the winner, in my book anyway. And there's a lot of emphasis right now for me on this map in particular.
Now that's a bold claim. That's a bold claim, Flame. Hey, look at that. Hey,
I'll try it, you know?
You try. All right, guys. Well, this is it. We're going into the next set of games. Let's go ahead and make some noise here as we get ready. Japan, Australia, duking it out. Let's send it over to Monty and Doa.
All right, thank you, Golden Boy. That's right, Donmati back again for the conclusion of this match between Japan and Australia. The winner goes to BlizzCon. We're all tied up, and you know, we saw initially Australia doing a good job of taking advantage of some of the weaknesses that they've kind of found over the week that Japan had. But you know, I gotta say, Japan on Lijiang Tower striking right back, finding some of those openings that Australia's kind of left. So what are we gonna see going forward?
Well, I do think that those control maps have been a weak point for Australia, and it is their map choice, and it will be Volskaya. And I have to agree with Jamerson here. I really think that you go to the Sombra maps, because Australia will be much more comfortable playing Sombra-favored maps than Japan will be. And we are going to at least initially see Gunma playing the Sombra here on point A. Yes, they weren't able to take that 1-point control center, but it was a 99-99 finish.
Yeah.
And I think that they should feel very strong about running the EMP on these wide open points.
I think so too. Here we go. Volskaya Industries. We're going to have Japan on the offense first of all. Australia on the defense. And like Monty mentioned, Gunba will be running that Sombra. If it were me, I'd just kind of recruit one of those giant robots over there. I think they could probably take the point pretty easily.
Just crush the point.
Yeah, just or just pick it up and take it with you.
Yeah, you think there'd be pretty easy ways of dealing with Overwatch's attack here with the giant number of battle mechs around.
Tayo, some men just want to see the world filled with bullets from whatever Bastion's shooting.
The cannon, the Gatling gun.
Whoa.
That's a pretty strong indictment on the world right there. I guess Bastion hasn't lost all of his hate.
I think actually that's a pretty good endorsement of whoever makes that globe. That is a durable globe, man. If I'm going to buy a glove, I want to...
Warproof.
I want to buy something that lasts. There you go. Globes that last. Here we go, Japan on the offense. AKTM back on the soldier one more time. They're going to run it around to the right side, as you often see. Try to deal with that Sombra hack on the big health pack.
You got to hack the Pac-Man.
That's right.
Yos is already here on the Ana as well, and they are going to just get the position on the health pack uncontested relatively, because Australia is defending from the far side of the point.
Yeah, again, like we've been saying all week, you just want to deny that second hack so you have access to that health.
Yeah, it's going to come a battle on the other room. Tayo nearly falling.
Oh, he does fall. You got to be so careful when you go in. I eat you up, ready to win that duel on the Tracer. Kunba gets the kill, or actually pops Jasper out of the mech, and there's a reset coming in from Japan. Jasper jumped off, and it looks like AKTM. Ooh, he is deep behind enemy lines right now.
He's going all the way back to hiding
he's like,
as best he can. He really can't die right now.
I got lost.
This might come as a bit of a surprise. We will see. No, not anymore, as RQT is going to get a read on him immediately, and that will force the members of Australia to shift.
Mistake. That is a problem. Japan's attack is going to be slowed down so much why would you not just wait a little bit longer for your team to respond?
Well, communications were just slightly off, though, and Japan was only making it to the front around the point right there. He thought maybe they had already engaged or had the pressure on. Instead, Australia has all the time in the world to turn back onto him and pick up the kill.
Yeah. Well, Ya's getting a little bit low as well. Some early poke coming in from Australia as they get ready to defend this next push from Japan. Tayo sneaker on the outside. There's the EMP right away. Tayo goes in, takes out Kumba, but kills on the outside. Whoa, where'd he go? Okay, back on Volskaya. Meanwhile, Australia getting a couple more kills, starting to pull ahead in this fight. Tayo in the Tracer duel. He's got that ultimate. Oh, taken out by Atar, though. How dare you interrupt the sacred Tracer duel, but I don't think the rest of Team Australia cares.
Right, certainly don't. And that's going to be a lot more time burned as the EMP when everybody was committed inside that. Tayo trying to be cute, and once the Sombra was low, take her out when she used that translocator, but that was all they got.
Yeah, so now Japan has a pretty good amount of ultimates to work with. They're nearly up to 6, in fact.
Kumba nearly has the EMP again as well, so.
Yeah, we could see 6 ults versus 6 ults here, depending on how aggressive Japan wants to be, and it's Japan. They want to be very aggressive. They're going in now. Yos does have that nano boost. Who's he going to give it to? Is he going to give it to Dearden again? No, over to AKTM one more time. There's the hack. No ultimate coming out from Soldier. He can't take advantage of the nano boost. Got to avoid that self-destruct. Oh, Tayo can't, though. And Japan, one member down already, make it 2. And Australia handles that attack with ease. Jasper still on the point for the moment, but that EMP really messed Japan up.
It really did, though, and the timing couldn't have been better. It was a split second before that tac visor could actually be activated, and Australia falls back with a major team fight win. That said, Japan can still come in. They still have a tac visor of their own to use, and no more defensive ultimates from Australia. AKTM needs to find the angle.
This could be Japan's moment. It probably should be on paper. AKTM with that tactical visor ready to go. Got to deal with the Winston first of all. As Shrill comes in, there's the ult. Got to deal with the Diva, though. Nobody is popping Kiki out of the mech just yet. Finds a couple shots here. Kumba does go down, but again, Dearden, all right, killed him.
He won the duel against the tac visor.
That is big, man. And Japan looks like they're finally ready to take point A here. Australia nearly held it to the end, but it looks like Japan is going to take it in OT.
That looked like a terrible tac visor from AKTM, and Atar tried to take the flank around the backside of the bunker on the point, but a very quick helix rocket flick from AKTM means that that is also shut down. So Australia's hopes of holding fully on this point are gone, but only 3:45 left, and they still have an EMP to delay this attack.
Yeah, it's still good defense for Australia so far. Japan with not a lot of time to work with coming into point B here. AKTM just firing. There's an early EMP. Where's the follow-up from Australia? There it is. Dearden goes down courtesy of Atar. Trill adding on to that, and Japan's going to need to pull back and regroup.
Yeah, no real choice there. That was great coverage of the Sombra by Trill, coming in and dropping the Winston bubble on top of the fight. Atar swapped to the Genji and already approaching 60% of the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, Australia managed to delay Jasper's death too, so that's going to be another staggered respawn that Japan has to deal with. Jasper back right now. But that costs him a couple seconds, and when you're down to 3 minutes already, you really can't afford to lose that time.
I really think Japan needs to stop nano boosting AKTM. His attack visors have not been good. Kiki's been there to answer them every time. Put it on your Winston instead.
Yeah. Kiki taking some damage. Japan with a lot of ults to work with here. If they're going to do it, this is the time. Self-destruct comes in. There's the EMP. AKTM hides, runs for cover. Trill gets a kill into Tayo. Good start for Australia. There's another one. They are going to hold. You know, and it just feels like watching Japan, they've gotten inside their own heads. They're just really not playing like we've seen them play earlier in the week.
Well, that time the EMP did come down onto Dearden, but Australia, another read, counteracting with the EMP yet again, and they don't waste anything. Okay, they use the self-destruct on the point, but look at what they hold on to right here. Everything else. They have the power to delay this for the next 2 minutes if they continue to be conservative and precise in the way they're using their ults.
That's right.
Jasper actually on the Pharah now, so big switch.
huge switch, actually.
They're
switching from the D.Va onto the Pharah. They just decide they need more damage.
They need more damage, Doa, and also, there's nobody to deal with the Pharah. You're dealing with a Sombra, a Genji, and a Tracer. Very hard to deal with the long-range rockets.
True.
From this Pharah.
You have enough room generally to kind of maneuver with this Pharah pick as well. There's the EMP, doesn't touch Jasper. Here comes the Dragon Blade now. We'll see what it can get. Atar already with one. And again, Australia repelling Japan with ease.
Well, they see the Pharah in the skies, and they know that if they make that aggressive play, and that's a nice stagger from I Eat You Up.
Yeah.
Jasper crying Mayday as he hits the ground.
And Atar immediately swaps onto that Soldier 76 after using that Genji ult. I think that's a very smart switch by Australia.
And he switches back, so he sees what Jasper's doing. There were a little bit of mind games right there. Sees the D.Va come back out. So this is great communication from Australia, though. That's what you want to see. They dive the lines, make the kills. You get value out of the Dragon Blade, and then make the switch.
Sure enough, Tayo needs a huge pulse bomb here. He's got a little bit of extra health. There's a sound barrier for both sides now, waiting for it. Tayo on the point, being annoying here. Japan just trying to maneuver their way around it. Kiki out of the mech already. Tracer takes a trip. Oh, doesn't get anyone with that pulse bomb though. I Eat You Up on the other side though, taking out Claire. Japan loses both supports, and Australia again, they have won every single fight here on point B.
And Gunba's gonna hold on to the EMP too, Doa. There's maybe one push, a scattered push, a disastrous push coming in from Japan. That's all they've got. Jasper switches back to the Pharah in desperation. I mean, but I just don't think it's going to be enough.
Well, the huge thing too is that they haven't even gotten a single tick yet on point B, which means it'd be pretty easy for Australia to win this one. There's the EMP. Immediately Claire goes down. Atar with the early kill. Jasper needs to just become a god right now to try to push this thing, but it is not happening. AKTM taken out by the pulse bomb. And they go ahead and give the nano boost to Dearton finally, but it's too late. What are you really going to do? Basically, everybody on Japan is dead now. Trill dies in the very end, but there's the self-destruct. Going to zone away Tayo. In fact, it's going to blow him away. And there's OT ticking. Japan fails their attack round. They don't even take a single tick on point B, and that is another great opportunity for Australia.
That was really an ironclad defense from Australia.
Yeah.
Gunba said they had them read. They were ready for some weird picks coming in. They were ready for some unorthodox swaps, and the communication just on point right there. See the Pharah, dump your Dragon Blade, try and play that counter pick. They got so much value out of that. Very well read positional play by Australia, adapting their composition and their strategies to what Japan was doing.
So if you look at Japan too, they're not playing poorly. They're still playing well, but the difference is Australia really has a great read on what Japan is doing now in their games. And unless Japan shows a new level of flexibility that we haven't seen before, I think it's going to be pretty tough for them to win this series.
I think Australia came in, they said, okay, we're going to take a look constantly about if there are any flexing of roles that Japan is running. How can we be the best ones to stop this? And Japan, even when they've gone to those triple DPS compositions, as we saw in that last point, Australia ready to change their tactics in order to counter.
You know, in Japan's earlier matches, there was kind of a carefree style to the way they were playing, the way they were making their hero switches. And the way I see them play now, they look nervous, they look tense, they look less willing to take those risks. And those risks are a big part of what got them those wins earlier. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, I think Japan is kind of getting in their own heads here too.
Yeah.
And they're just not playing like themselves. I think the stress is getting to these guys a bit too.
Yeah, maybe. No, they also just may be out of tricks at this point in time.
It could be.
And with how well Australia is adapting, it's difficult. If they show anything that they've already shown before, you'd have to think that Australia will be ready for it, but we'll see if they can take this point. Japan still has a chance to win here on Volskaya.
Pretty standard comps for both sides. Japan still running Yos on that, not Ana though.
Yeah, Ana will be up, so no Sombra. Japan has not been that flexible when it comes to using the hacks.
Oh, Atar got to be careful. Gets a little low. Clutch biotic grenade keeps him alive for the moment anyway. Japan, Tayo getting very, very low. Atar falls back down the stairs. He's got to be careful. AKTM trying to make something happen. Japan pushing back Australia for a moment anyway.
Yeah, and they're just going to push them right back onto the point. So high ground now taken by Australia, but I Eat You Up will fall to Tayo.
Oh, Trill getting aggressive. He got slept though. Gunba getting a little bit low, and it looks like Japan should hold this first attack at least. That was a great sleep dart onto Trill as he came in, and that kind of opened the door for Japan to win that fight.
Yeah, it was unlikely Australia was going to win that after I Eat You Up fell, but they had to go all in, see if they could pick up the kills and turn that around. AKTM uses the Dragon Blade in the confined space. Rooms on the right side, and that's a big ultimate down for Japan, but at the same time Australia was not able to get a lot of charging done outside of Gunba. Trill very low right now.
He went in really early. The rest of his team wasn't quite there yet. They managed to keep him alive for the moment though. It'd be so big if they could keep him up. Jasper popped out of the mech, so Australia a little bit awkward engaged, but it looks like they're going to capitalize on it.
That was a big over pursuit by Japan. They saw Trill very low in HP. He fell back, and Gunba managed to get the necessary heals onto him to keep him alive. Charges that nano boost, but holds on to it.
Wow. Jebaited to the max, dude. Trill drew in Japan. They paid for it.
Yeah, they really were jebaited right there. As you can see, Atar, that's a fantastic shot from the Soldier 76.
Oh, man, that rocket.
Brutal flick.
Dude, Team Rocket's just going to be like, you are the real Team Rocket leader.
Is that what they're going to be like after this?
Rockets are the best. We'll give you all our Pokemon. Here we go. Australia already pushing into point B. Remember, they just need that first tick. I Eat You Up with the kill onto Yoz early on. That nano boost. Oh, sleep dart reflected into Atar, I think. No, Yoz just hit that one, I believe.
Yeah, a little bit difficult to tell right there.
Yeah, a little bit tough. Looks like Japan will have to, or will push Australia back for the moment.
AKTM received the nano boost and has the Dragon Blade as we look at Atar falling. So Australia, they're not going to be too successful on the first attack.
Yeah. But 5 minutes, over 5 minutes for Australia to take a single tick on the control meter. I mean, that is a very doable thing. All they need to do, stay calm, maybe do a couple economy pushes, build up some ultimates, and then go in with the sledgehammer and try to win that one. Oh, RQT, there we go. Gets up there at just the end. Here comes the dive from Japan. Got to deal with it. Atar does go down early. Not a great start for Australia. And Japan, you know, as good as the defense was for Australia last round, Japan is equalizing for the moment.
And Japan knows what they're trying to do.
Yep.
Play aggressive. They're going to only use the Dragon Blade to fend off that assault. So keeping as many of their crucial ultimates, most notably that sound barrier, for as long as they can.
So as Australia builds their ultimates up, Japan is kind of slowly doing the same thing. Yeah, trying to do as much as they can anyway.
This is where you want to trade the nano boost for the sound barrier of Japan. You want a nano boost, Trill, try and get him in there and force them to use the sound barrier.
That's the idea. Atar having to deal with the DPS here. The dive is over. Tayo being very annoying there. Can't get to his team quite set. Oh, but Claire goes down via Trill. Trill going crazy now, taking out both supports. Now he gets the nano boost. This is the opportunity that Australia's been looking for. All they need is that one pick, a third kill for Trill. And the control meter starting to build now. Australia may have it. They just have to deal with the reinforcements, and that's it. Australia takes full sky, and they put themselves one map away from making it to BlizzCon.
A huge accomplishment, definitely for Australia. If they can make it just this one more map, but they look in prime position to do so. You have to favor them on Escort with how these teams have been playing so far.
Yeah, man, I think Trill needs to change his name to something like Skill or Thrill or Ill or Kill or something like that. All of those describe this guy's play.
I prefer to believe he's just a huge Star Trek fan, though.
Maybe, yeah. Trill?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was like some Star Trek alien. I don't know. Maybe he can make a high, fluttery bird noise. Maybe that's why.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
He's an expert in trilling, perhaps. Either way, these guys are experts in Overwatch, no doubt about that. As we look at the recap here from Volskaya Industries, I mean, what more can you say? Australia just really seems to have Japan's number at this point.
Yeah, I really like what they did on that last push, too.
Yeah.
When they had the advantage, they knew that sound barrier was up. And so when Claire went down, we didn't get to see how he died. But that was the moment when everyone on Australia knew the trigger must be pulled now. I thought they'd just go ahead and burn that nano boost. But when you get the pick, you don't have to do that. You can all in.
That last fight was a little bit more of what we saw in King's Row, right? Where they saw the supports exposed. Trill gets to jump in, kills both supports. And then why not? Give him the nano boost, do the Primal Rage, take out everybody else. I mean, you can kind of overcommit to that one fight when you just need the one tick. And so I think they knew exactly the situation they were in, and they did it perfectly.
Yeah, that's a clean fight. And those mistakes on timing, like we saw from Claire, not being able to get the sound barrier down before you die, can be game-changing, especially when you have such a very long time to hold. The margin for error is just razor thin.
When you see supports just insta-gibbed like that, that's usually the product of very good communication on the team side. You know, somebody calls out, hey, I just did a lot of damage. Winston's able to jump in and get that final damage with like the leap into a melee or something like that. And then you just electrocute everybody else. There you go. Our fourth map will be Dorado, Australia. If they win this map, they are going to BlizzCon Japan with a chance to tie things up. They did it on the control map pick. Let's see if they can do it on their escort map pick.
Interesting that they go back to this. Sure, we've seen the big McCree performances from AKTM on Dorado in this tournament, but they did lose to Finland on this map earlier today.
Yeah, but that was like Taimu going Super Saiyan at that point, basically.
That was Taimu popping up.
And he just got mad enough to win.
He is a player that can single-handedly win you maps. There's no question about that.
Dude, actually, that map was one of the best DPS duel maps I've ever seen in my life. AKTM versus Taimu. That's probably one of my favorite maps of Overwatch ever, that one earlier between Japan and Finland. No doubt, though, AKTM, a big threat here on Dorado with that McCree.
But not looking like he's going to pick it right now. At least maybe starting out. It will be Japan on the attack on the Genji. Unless they decide to switch things up. And there we go. All right, that's what we wanted to see, Doa.
I was worried for a second.
I was so worried we wouldn't have any more cowboy time in Mexico, but that is all gone now. My worries have been allayed.
Well, so here's the question now. Australia has had a great answer for everything Japan has thrown at them thus far. Do they have an answer for AKTM's McCree? So far, not many teams really have.
Yeah, those teams often, when we look at that play, have lacked a good diva, okay? When Spain was going, when Japan, rather, was going crazy on Spain on this map, they didn't really have that particular hero to be used effectively, and that opens up a lot of room for McCree. He's obviously going to play it right now because he's trying to hide the pick.
Yep, that's what he generally does. He sneaks through the bottom. See if Australia's aware. Yeah, coming around the right side this time. He's gone both ways, depending on the opponent.
Yeah, really wants to try and get this first flashbang, but that's a big initial kill by IEU up.
Yeah, that's a problem. I think AKTM may want to back up. And the thing is, Australia hasn't seen him yet. I think that kind of tells you right there he's on the McCree and he's hiding somewhere. He's a sneaky cowboy.
Sneaky cowboy is my favorite euphemism, Doa.
It's gotta mean something else, I know. There we go, he's up on the roof now. Couple shots onto the Winston, but ooh, you're playing with Fireman Flashbang, not even needing it. Trill does go down, courtesy of a little bit of help from Jasper. Good start for Japan now, and again, so much damage coming in. Headshot the Kiki. There's another one onto Atar. This McCree is insane.
Absolutely demolishing Australia, but you have to remember, everybody was herding the members up onto the high ground toward him. They didn't know where he was. He was so cautious and patient with that engage. And usually, you see the Cowboys herding, not getting herded too, but in this way, worked out.
You do kind of want to herd the cattle towards the cowboy, generally. I'm not an expert on cattle herding, though. I admit. I
think you would have heard him to pastures, though.
The cowboy doesn't shoot all of the cows as well, too. A fight over the payload now as Australia comes back in. Trill the first to fall again. AKTM with yet another kill. This guy's accuracy is so good. There goes Kumba Kiki finally with the revenge, but that payload is moving. Are they going to get point A? They do. Whoa, fast first push for Japan. and Australia may be scrambling a bit here.
Yeah, they're not able to dive in. It's these two long-range DPS characters going head-to-head with Atar on the Soldier and AKTM on the McCree.
Yeah.
And the pressure has been onto Atar. And when AKTM rolls up next to him with that flashbang, it's not much of a 1v1 that a Soldier can pull off.
And we're seeing this again and again from Japan. When AKTM draws all this attention with the McCree, that really frees up Tayo to sneak in the back and get a lot of good picks too on the Tracer. This is Japan in their element right now.
And they're already in point B, and we've seen no ultimates used, Doa. So
Yeah.
clean push so far from Japan.
Very clean. Australia up on the high ground now. No McCree flank with a flashbang from Japan or anything like that. There's a Transcendence coming in. AKTM with the Deadeye, trying to zone a little bit, scooting around to the Winston, can't find it though. And Trill on the run. Tayo does take out RQT with his ultimate here. Japan storming in though. Wow, Deart getting two actually with the Primal Rage. And if they can clear people off the payload, they're going to get a lot of distance out of this. Deart coming up big on that Winston now.
And AKTM doesn't look like he got very many kills, but the zone he created in that fight just kept Trill out of that entire engagement. So, on the other hand, the ulting monkey from the side of Japan, Dearten, manages to do the work onto the back line, pick up the kills, and Japan has been very little slowed down so far.
Oh, here we go. Trill coming in yet again, AKTM on the run. Yeah, just kill you up on the way out. Why not? There's a Primal Rage. Trill angered at the death of his Tracer player, and Japan keeps pushing forward now. They've got that sound barrier. Atar trying to take people out with the tac visor though. AKTM untouched for the moment. So much damage coming out of this McCree. Trill just can't do anything. How in the world is this guy that accurate? I have never seen a McCree as good as AKTM.
Well, I mean, he has no pressure on him, Doa. That's the problem. Australia has to figure out a way to disrupt this guy. They wanted to use Trill to do it earlier on, but when he uses the Deadeye, Trill cannot get in his face, even if he has that Primal Rage up. So this has been basically an uncontested payload so far for Japan with 4 minutes into point C.
Seriously though, AKTM just does not miss, except for right now when I was saying that he didn't miss. But ignore that. I eat you up. 2 kills at that pulse bomb. Looks like Australia finally gonna win their first fight here on Dorado.
Okay.
They needed that. They really needed a defensive win.
Yeah, they definitely did, though. They had to stop Japan's momentum, force them to reposition, and try and get them to walk through these choke points if they wanted to take a win. That said, Australia low when it comes to ultimates right now. Japan only really has one big one with the Transcendence, but that might be enough just to push through.
All right, Japan setting up for this next attack here. Ooh, and we can see Trill hiding around the corner there. Tayo being careful. There's balls of sound flying past his head. Ooh, there we go, going in. I eat you up, taken down by AKTM. There's a Transcendence for Australia, perhaps a bit late. Japan trying to capitalize now. Tayo going in. AKTM gets RQT with the Deadeye. That's a lot of acronyms, but what it means is Japan is pushing that payload even farther. A devastating win in this offensive push for Japan, and that payload will basically be at the end, and they've got a lot of time left in the time bank. And this is it, the crucial moment for Japan.
And they have a self-destruct, though. It has zoned them off right now. Tayo gonna try and put some damage down on the Winston. He's gonna get it done, and that's more delays for the Australian side. Japan just keeps on moving forward here on Dorado.
Now they just have to fight the stragglers. They have to fight Australia as they come in one after the other. There's the self-destruct, there's the payload moving, and Japan completes Dorado. Wow, that was a pretty one-sided attack round, wasn't it?
It was 224 with a full push through Dorado. This is going to have to be a hell of an Australian attack to manage to push that far and that fast.
I mean, you can really see why Japan picks this map. They are so good, and AKTM on that McCree just is untouchable.
They just didn't stabilize either. Like, AKTM can peel for himself. On the McCree, and we saw that. Whether it was landing the flashbangs or the headshots onto IEU up, or simply just making sure Trill did not perform in these engagements with the Deadeye, there was never any pressure on him. And when you don't have anybody in your face, anybody stopping you from doing the big plays, it's easy to get those picks off, right? Of course, you have to have the godlike aim, but once you have that, you know, you're going to hit most of those shots. So,
well, he's a total package, man. I mean, he's got the aim, he's got the positioning, he's got the reactions. and he's got the cool hat.
Well, and Kiki, I think, needs to be more cognizant about AKTM's positioning. Of course, it is difficult when he's as sneaky as he is. Atar is going to be moving over to the Genji this time, but AKTM looks like he'll be matching him on the defense.
Yep, that's right. So, Australia, again, pretty tall order for them to finish Dorado with 2:24 left on the clock or better. Dorado is a map that even the best teams struggle to finish. And, you know, even if you do finish it, having a time bank like the one Japan has is not something we see very often.
No, it certainly isn't, and especially on these payload maps, a minute is having a minute advantage is huge.
So just to kind of review where we're at, if Japan does win this one, we're going to go to that final control map, and that's a whole separate discussion. We'll talk about that if we get there. Australia on the offense, here we go. They got to move this payload fast.
RQT going to jump onto it immediately. Atar heads to the high ground to try and contest on top of that first building and prevent a counter dive.
A nice healing from RQT, keeping everybody up for the moment. Japan just poking from range. Gotta watch out for the dive though. AKTM could come in at any time on that Genji.
Australia controlling the space well so far. They're not really in danger.
Yep.
And they haven't suffered any picks from the high ground. And Trill going to get the first one. So measured attack from Australia to start cleaning up, start taking control outside of the market.
A great start for Australia. They get exactly the picks they were looking for, and that should mean a pretty smooth push here around the corner.
And that's going to be a great late kill, too, from Trill. AKTM falling means that they're going to be able to push much further forward without fear.
Sure enough. Here we go. That payload moving along almost to the end of point A now. Defensive positions taken up by Australia to try to fight Japan as they come in to try to contest.
And now they know where Japan's coming in. Communication has been issued that they will be all pouring through that choke.
Atar very low. Got to be careful here. Nano boost onto Dearton once more. Japan going back to their old tricks. No kills out of that, but it does push Australia back for the moment. Here comes the sound barrier. Whoa, Kiki gets two with the self-destruct, and that is going to be a pretty sick win for Australia.
Yeah, they read that really well. They knew the dive was coming into the back line, fade back immediately, take out the tanks, and then re-push forward onto the payload. Great use of the sound barrier from RQT just to make sure that they sew up point A and continue a speedy run, which they absolutely need if they are going to take the win on Dorado.
Yeah, so far so good for Australia. A lot of ultimates to work with as well coming into the second phase. Yeah, they're on Dorado.
Also, the Nano Boost was pretty useless there for Yoz because as soon as the Winston went in, there was nobody standing next to Dearton.
Yeah.
A low-value ult.
Yeah. So far, it's certainly been Trill, the one finding the picks with that Winston rather than Dearton on the Japan side. They're going to go in now. Japan trying to defend. Time to drop down on the payload. There's a Transcendence. Dragon Blade coming out. IQ does take out Tayo, but Australia moving a little bit farther forward. They completely negated the Dragon Blade from AKTM with that Transcendence, and now Atar coming in with his own. Takes out Claire immediately. Much more successful Genji on the side of Australia, and for as well as Japan was doing on their attack round, Australia easily matching.
They are, and that was just great ultimate coordination. As soon as we saw the Dragon Blade come out of the Japanese side, they made a transition, popped the sound barrier and the Transcendence, reduced all of that damage coming in, and they're going to force AKTM back onto the McCree.
Oh, here we go, man. AKTM saying, you know what? I need to take this one seriously. Time to switch to McCree. Needs that pick. Trill coming in now, going after the supports yet again. AKTM right there too. There's a Primal Rage. And throughout all of this, that payload's continuing to move. Japan just can't get there to contest. Ooh, but they can get the kill onto Kiki. And Australia will have to fall back. So close to finishing point B though.
Yeah, Claire did use the sound barrier just to make sure that they weren't going to die, even as Trill was zoning out 3 members. So only one ultimate used there from Japan.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit concerned, though, for Australia. They've got a ways to go to build back up. Atar sees the McCree, and he's going back on the 76.
I really am not sure why Jasper used the self-destruct there when he was standing by the payload.
That was a mistake.
I think that was just fat-fingered right there, man. There's no reason to ult, and that's a pretty big one to have down. It takes you a long time to build that devault back up again. Whoops. Right, you up coming in, looking for that pulse bomb opportunity.
Still just around the side of the cart right now. Japan definitely has the power to wait this one out.
High noon. Rocket fires off. Do they get anything out of it? AKTM, no, not quite. Yost does go down. Australia now with the sound barrier coming in. AKTM takes out Kiki, but still a chance to push forward. Atar gets one with the Helix rocket, looking for more. Nearly has that tac visor up. And he's got a lot to use. There's no Diva in the way right now, and it looks like he's going to clear the path for the payload to get through point B.
Well, that was very measured defense there. They pulled back away from the sound barrier. Dearden tried to force them out into the open for the Deadeye.
Are you kidding me? How does AKTM pull these kills? That was like, how did he get 2 kills there? How did he do that?
I love how he just rolls in.
It's insane. Roll is an engage tool for AKTM. Either way, Australia does have that payload moving, and they've still got over 3 minutes on the time bank here too, but they need to keep the momentum up.
This is going to be a brawl, Doa. Can Gunba get value out of this Transcendence? Yost just switched over to the Zenyatta, so they can push aggressively.
All right, Gunba getting in. He's going to drop the Transcendence early. Where's the rest of the team? They need to capitalize on this. They do. Jasper and Yost do go down. Good start for Australia. The respawns are going to start to become a problem for Australia, as Japan can get back pretty quick, but if they can clear out Claire, oh man, Claire's staying alive for way too long. There we go, now the payload's moving, but nice little amount of time actually bought by Claire.
Yeah, and also he'll have the sound barrier when he comes back up.
Yeah.
Deadeye still there to make sure that they're not going to be able to push the cart effectively. They will have to scatter if AKTM can find the proper angle.
Well, Atar needs to be careful. Had that Orb of Discord on him, had to duck off the high ground to stay alive. Here we go, sound barrier for Japan now. They're going to cover AKTM with that Deadeye. Does he get anything out of it? Doesn't seem like it, and now the tac visor for Atar. Maybe he can pick up a kill or two.
And he did, he got it out of the self-destruct. Tayo answers on the Gunba, but IEUM has been getting the most important kills on the backside of this fight. They've got to keep pushing through.
Well, Transcendence trying to delay for Japan just long enough to get those respawns back in time. Ooh, Claire shot out from under the cart by Atar. Japan coming back now, but there's a sound barrier for Australia to try to push this the rest of the way through. Only a minute 30 left on the clock, though, and Japan's got the respawns. Primal Rage gonna buy even more time. Dearden holding strong on the payload, and it's dire straits for Australia. They need to get this there right here, right now.
But Atar is still untouched, and he's still dealing huge amounts of damage from the back line. You gotta clean it up. The Tracer will go down. The cart will keep moving.
Oh, they've got it. Australia moving in, and they will complete Dorado. Less time in the time bank, but they got it done.
Well, we talked about it coming in, Doa. A minute in escort can be a huge, huge difference. They are going to have to hope for a massive overtime push.
Yeah. Oh, this is huge. We're into time bank on Dorado right now. Japan with more to work with on the clock. They've got 224. Meanwhile, Team Australia about half that, 113. But again, when you're down to this short amount of time, anything can happen.
Now, how many times have we seen extended pushes in desperate overtimes?
Yep.
We got some great matches last week with those overtime pushes on Hollywood.
Yep.
We may see another lengthy match here on Dorado.
Oh, Exceso no autorizado.
Your
Protocolo Sombra version 2.3. Look out, guys.
Your Spanish continues to be amazing, Doa. I think it's one of your greatest skills.
It's really my second language when you come to it. Yeah. I'm fluent in over 6 million forms of communication.
And
none of them are actual languages, though. I can draw really nice pictures. How about that?
I look forward to seeing that on cast.
I only speak esports. And
you can cast in charades next time, all right?
And lay dank memes. Japan on the defense. Australia needs to make this time count for them. Here we go. The attack begins, and Atar back on that Genji once more. Finds the tanks on the high ground, as I think he'd assume they'd be. Here comes the tanks for Australia to try to push them back now.
AKTM on the soldier this game, so making another adjustment here, trying to keep things a little bit confusing for Australia on their attack.
Here we go. Japan trying to hold, but slowly but surely Australia's pushing these guys back. The kills should come in soon. Japan back to the high ground, a little bit farther away. The payload starts to move. Australia's won that initial push, but they need a lot more.
And they also push a member off the high ground right there, so here comes the engage.
Yeah, Japan A little bit of trouble. Ooh, but Gunba goes down. That's big. Oh, and Japan suddenly
But
wins
the
a big
pulse
fight.
bomb at the end, the respawns will be coming through.
I Eat You Up gets 2, but they would have needed more. Japan still holds, and we're down to just 14 seconds remaining. This could be disaster for Australia. They need to crush Japan in this next fight.
They do, Dawn, but they're going to get movement on the card because even though they die, those 2 kills will take longer to get here to the defense.
Yeah.
So it's not over yet.
Okay, we're into overtime now. The push has begun in earnest for Australia. Japan trying to push it back. Atar has that Dragon Blade. He's going to pull it out. Going after the supports. Going after the soldier maybe. RQT goes down early though. And Atar, his team being cut down around him. Can he get a little bit more? No, not enough out of that Dragon Blade. And Japan still coming out ahead in this fight for the moment. Primal Rage for Dayarten pushing Australia back. Trill did go down. And that OT bar, it's going to go so fast once they push Kiki off the point.
Oh no, they didn't get the sound barrier onto the Diva at the end. It was just a solo sound barrier onto the Lucio.
Japan with a strong defensive hold against Australia. And we certainly appear to be on our way to Game 5 here, don't we?
We do, Daw. Still possible to hold.
It is,
before
but
the arch with an aggressive defense. But 224, that is a lot to ask.
It's going to be so difficult for Australia to keep Japan from getting the payload, the short distance, only that far for Japan to tie up this series and take us to that final map.
It will be Atar with the soldier, AKTM. He's going to play the McCree again, it would appear. And if he can get one of those long flanks, we've seen how much the payload can roll.
Yeah.
After one of those orchestrated plays from Japan. They are very good about getting that soldier, that cowboy rather, into unexpected places and then following up with a dive from their tank line.
I heard the TM in AKTM stands for T-Mobile, actually. In the end.
Is that right? Wow.
All-knowing
You just
T-Mobile.
slipped that one in there.
That's right. Production told me I just got a raise. Excellent. Yes! I win this match.
Well, here we go, Doa.
Yep.
Atar on the back. Was a little bit vulnerable. Was ambushed in the high ground in the tunnel
we'll
on the
see how it
bridge
goes.
before. So he's playing a different position this time around.
Yeah, perhaps taking the left side. We'll see. He's snuck around a couple different ways here. Japan just sitting on that payload for the moment. Kiki a little bit on his own. A little bit worried about that positioning once the defense matrix goes down. Yeah, he's got to get out of there. Meanwhile, AKTM back on the high ground. We've seen him do this before. Australia, I drop maybe can contest. Oh, Japan. Oh! Ape to the face, but it doesn't matter. Japan still pushing so far ahead.
And with Atar going down, Doa Yos finds the big. That is probably going to be it for this matchup. Desperate defense from Gunba onto the card. Gets the biotic grenade, but it looks like Japan is going to be taking Toronto.
Yeah, looks that way. Kiki may be able to get back. No, we can't get there in time. Japan wins Toronto, and we are going to map 5.
And this will be Australia's choice of map as the losing team.
Yep.
We're not going to be taking a break, guys. We're heading this all the way through.
That's right. Yeah, no breaks. Who wants to take a break anyway? I want to see that last map. One map to decide who goes to BlizzCon. Is it going to be Australia? Is it going to be Japan? Both teams playing so well this series. Both of them deserve it. I'm excited, man.
I'm just speechless after this game. It has been just incredibly tense.
Yeah.
It was a lot to ask with the shorter time for Australia to hold right there, especially with how quickly Japan has typically pushed through point A. They've been held up in point B, they've been held up in point C, but for the most part, their point A attacks have been very clean. So not the greatest situation in the world to be in, that's for sure. But Australia's going to get another choice, and they're going to get it on their next map of their choosing. We're still waiting to see what exactly it's going to be.
Well, I'm just happy about this match, too, because I think this is the highest level Overwatch we've seen yet at the World Cup. Both of these teams so good at reading each other, the counter reads coming in, and such individual skill from both of these teams. I mean, Trill, Ader, you look at AKTM on the other side. There's so many good players on these two teams. It's actually like tragic that they both can't get to BlizzCon.
Yeah, well, that's why we have these group stages, Noah. They're exciting, and I think the reality is that with only 2 teams going from each stage, we're going to end up with an ultra-competitive BlizzCon this year, which is just very exciting. Got to cut the dross in the meantime, you know?
This is going to be awesome. I'm sad, though. I'm sad that one of these teams has to go home, guys. Looks like Oasis is going to be the next map here, the final map in this series, an Oasis best of 3 to decide who goes to BlizzCon. Is it going to be Australia? Is it going to be Japan? Very shortly, we'll find out.
And who is better at Pharah is really the question about this map. We've seen a little bit of it from Jasper earlier in this very series. Wasn't the greatest, but this is so important to have a good Pharah player in here. It can make all the difference. But the Sombra on University, now, how have these teams been preparing? Because Sombra is a crucial pick on this particular point because of how fast you can rush the Mega Health Pack underneath the point.
That's right. Here we go. Our first time to visit Oasis this week here at the Sydney stage of the 2017 Overwatch World Cup. It's been an awesome week of matches, an awesome crowd out there in the stands, and a pretty awesome city to have this in.
It's been a great time. And we're almost done. Oasis, I also wonder how much these teams have practiced this particular map. Obviously, Australia more from their time in the OPC.
Yep.
But this one only used for this 5th and final map or as a tiebreaker in the event of a tie, which we have not had yet.
That's right. Well, here we go. Japan in the red, Australia in the blue. A best of 3 here on Oasis. The winner goes to BlizzCon to compete in the final stage of the Overwatch World Cup. I want to move there. That looks really nice.
Yeah, just recreating the Hanging Gardens of Babylon.
Pretty beautiful. Sick. I don't want to drive one of those cars, though. Those are hideous.
And seemingly quite dangerous.
I think so. Here we go. Australia coming out strong here. Japan with the power to equalize. AKTM this time on the Soldier. ATAR on the Soldier as well. As we see these teams meet here on City Center.
This is such a rarity, though. We almost always see Pharah or Genji on this particular point, but we're not going to get it in this matchup. It's all going to be about those long sight lines.
Well, with such strong Soldier and McCree players on both sides, it's not too shocking to me that both teams are hesitant to use that Pharah. The point has unlocked. Gunba up on the top here, getting rid of the glass. For now, Japan, the first ones to get a little bit of control meter built up. They're going in now. Australia dives down. Here's the brawl. Dayarden has to pull back. Yos and Dayarden so low, but they're the ones who pick up kills. Meanwhile, Australia answers right back. So far, so good for Japan, though. It's a fairly even fight.
Everybody getting desuited at the end of this one. ATAR trying to win these Soldier duels. He will pick off the enemy Zenyatta. Still on top of that healing field.
So low. Oh, no! We use the ultimate! Oh, that is rough. AKTM had his tag visor up. ATAR, though, he didn't quite get the animation.
He didn't finish the animation, so he will have it on the next attack. That was nearly a very bad situation for Australia. Man. Japan will take the point first, but I Eat You Up gets the Tracer duel win, so Australia should be pushing back very quickly.
Man, it just shows you how high the tensions are running on both of these teams.
Beautiful.
So eager. There's the sound barrier right into the tac visor for ATAR. Gets the kill on Declare with that Helix rocket to start things off. And there's a few more coming in. Jasper desuited. Nice kill on the AKTM by ATAR. Australia in position to take this point right back.
Yeah, it was a battle right there. Japan used their ultimates first onto that point, so they came in with a disadvantage on the defense. But what a great rocket to open things up for ATAR and turn it into a 6v5 immediately.
All right, so the control percent building now for Australia, and look at those ults at the top of the screen. They have got a lot to work with. If they can be efficient, they can hold this for a long time.
Forcing the rewind immediately, so that will delay any kind of flanking play by Tayo. I Eat You Up on the pursuit right now.
Yeah.
Zoned out, back
taking
over to his healer, and gonna pick up a health pack while he's at it.
Gotta get back to Lucio's healing area. Oh,
got the stick!
AKTM, a bomb on the face means he is out of the fight for the moment. Japan trying desperately to make something happen here. Tranquility being experienced by both teams right now. Who comes out ahead at the end? ATAR taken down. Japan strikes back. Jasper with that kill via the charge. There's the sound barrier for Japan now. and it looks like they're starting to pull ahead a little bit in this one.
Now they are. The sound
They
barrier
do.
just enough to overcome the offense there from Australia. Atar will be returning to the point with the tack visor.
Man,
and it will be matched by AKTM.
If we think back to Lijiang Tower, the points on that map were so back and forth, and we're seeing the exact same thing again here on Oasis. Both of these teams just so good at engaging it, winning fights. Japan should be able to equalize in the control percent now, but Australia has some tools to work with when they come back in.
They're going to try the tack visor all off the top.
Oh, that is aggressive, but it's paying off for Atar. Gets one at least. Okay, maybe that's not working out quite as well as I thought initially. Trill trying to find victims, and he finds one in Yo, stomping him flat. He's a bucket of bolts now, and Trill looking for a bit more at the end of this thing, but Japan coming back way too strong.
How long can they delay it? IEU at least is going to take out Dearten. So it is a 3 versus 3 on the point, but everybody getting surrounded inside that central pillar in Japan. Looks like they're going to hold on. It was a bold shot call to try the jump pad. Surprise, but Tayo managed to find a support on the backside of that fight.
Yo's coming back for a little bit of revenge here. And there, he's going to get some help from Dearten. Atar on the run. He's going to get taken out. Transcendence used by Japan. Not sure if that was totally necessary from Yos there, as his team was pretty much winning that fight. And we're up to 96% already for Japan. They're on the verge of just winning City Center. Last-ditch effort comes in. Transcendence for Australia. They're trying to win this one. They got to flip it right now if they want to have a chance to take this round. So far, so good with those early kills. Kiki making the difference. AKTM zoned out, grabs the health back, but he needs more. And now Australia with another opportunity to equalize. Man, this is close.
It is an IEU up again. The clutch player gets the kills at the right time.
Yeah.
Yos without that transcendence now is going to be looking at a difficult road to retake this point. Australia used nearly everything they have right there. Trill will be able to delay with the Primal Rage.
All right, here we go. Japan coming back in. A little bit of time to use as they try to build these ults. Trill taking a lot of damage courtesy AKTM. Backs up. There's the tack visor now. Goes in. Has to deal with the Primal Rage, though, on the Japan side. They've got that sound barrier, too. Most of that tack visor for AKTM used up. Meanwhile, Atar getting one onto Dearten, and he's going to grab two as well. Australia coming back strong, and if they can win this, they can take the round. It's so close. We're into overtime now, and Japan's scrambling.
And there's IEU up. Maybe he'll be able to close this one out. Tayo low. Tayo without the rewind, and that's going to be it. Just a matter of cleanup now for Australia. As long as they have that target focus, they should be able to take it, and they do.
Australia comes out ahead early on in this best of three. They are just one round win away from going to BlizzCon.
Well, that was about as close as it gets. We see a lot of extended overtimes on these Oasis points. That time goes in Australia's favor. They fight back from a pretty significant deficit and manage to take it and put themselves just 1 point away from attending BlizzCon.
All right, here we are on Gardens. Australia, if they win this round, they go to BlizzCon. Japan with a chance to tie things up and give themselves one more chance. They've come so far, but Australia on Oasis, the stronger team for the moment. Here we go.
I don't even remember the last time I didn't see a Farah on this point, though.
I know, right? Again, I think it's just the strength of the soldier players and that McCree from Japan that just has both of these teams scared away from using the Farah. Makes sense.
Australia playing on the outside under the cover, but Tayo.
Atar goes down early. Tayo with another pick. Japan with a strong start here in this fight. Trill finds himself on his own, has to back away. The pursuit coming in from Japan, though. And they're not even on the point to try to take it when it starts. Now they go back. And it looks like Japan will be able to get the control percent building first.
Well, Tayo hunting down Atar in that back line. And basically one-clipping him right out of the way.
Yep.
And that shifts the tide of momentum over to Team Japan.
All right, the pressure's on for Australia. They need to come back in, and Garden can be one of the tougher points to retake on Oasis. See what they can do.
Especially when your engagement opportunities are more limited without a Pharah player.
Yeah, that's right. High ground taken by Australia. I Eat You Up goes down, though. AKTM finding a sick kill with that soldier. ATAR up on the high ground. Pretty unopposed at the moment. Japan with a couple kills, though. It's a scrappy fight, but in the end, ATAR almost pulling ahead, but Tayo again there to take him down at the moment when he needed to live most. In Japan will continue to hold the point. They are going to be over halfway there to tying this one up.
Tayo has just been running rampant over Australia in this map. He has been the difference maker, finding ATAR repeatedly. Jasper going to get the self-destruct online right now. Gunba will have that Transcendence very soon, but self-destruct powerful on the point considering how much of that ultimate covers.
All right, Kiki, the protector on the Diva, trying to provide some space for ATAR. Ooh, Trill bounced off the edge by Claire, though. Not a great start for Australia. They got to back up and wait a little bit longer, and they do not have much time. Japan nearing 80 control percent already.
And Japan hasn't had to use an ult yet, though.
No.
Look at Yos. He's got that Transcendence up now. This is going to be a hell of a fireworks show to close out.
This is going to be the apocalypse, man. Both teams nearing 6 ultimates. The Diva's just waiting to get there. ATAR comes in. He's got the Orb of Discard on him, though. There it is, the ultimate. Tac Visor trying to find something with it. He's got the protection from his Zenyatta. Oh, but not really finding any damage at all from that Tac Visor. Rough start for Australia. Japan up to 99% already. Oh, but Kiki comes back with a kill on Claire. This is Australia's opportunity. Trill takes down Yos. They've got to flip it back right here, right now. And it looks like they might just be able to do it. Japan still in OT, but Australia gives themselves a chance.
And that resets everything, Doa. AKTM moving over to the Genji right now, and we have Trill holding on to that Primal Rage. So one good stall ultimate from Australia, but they're going to need more than that. They have to keep winning these fights.
Dude. Australia has a long way to go. In Japan, they've got the luxury now of just going in and doing a couple economy pushes to build up some ults for that big taking push. What's Australia going to do?
They're cautiously poking in. They're trying to split them up. Trill going to drop down on the Yos. There's a big kill.
Great engage by Trill to take down the Zenyatta early on, but Japan fires back with a couple of their own. Trill
gets the knockout kill.
Goodbye, AKTM. And he corners a Tracer. Jasper does go down in the back, though. Australia wins that crucial defensive fight.
AKTM on the Genji, slapped back to Japan off the map right now. Australia still has to hold another 50 seconds. And Dayarton, he's got the Primal Rage. If Tayo can get a pick with that Pulse Bomb, there should be enough stalling power. Australia's got to hope for a longer session of poke right here.
Yeah, they've got some ults to go up against too now. Japan's starting to build up some tools to take this point back with. I Eat You Up looking for the kill. It would be big. Oh, he gets him! A crucial pick again for Japan. They're going to use the sound barrier. I think Japan's already on the disengage, though, and they could have really used that Lucio ult. That may come back to haunt them.
Yeah, but Gunba is in advance, at least on the Transcendence counter, so they will have one support ult to use by the time that Japan gets one of theirs up. Not the end of the world at all.
All right.
This is tense situation. It's going to be 99-99. How many times have we seen this on Oasis?
Well, Australia with the ult advantage right now. It's their game to win.
Oh, no! That pick! Oh, my God!
AKTM taken out by You Up. Once again, a crucial pick with that Tracer, but they've still got to win the fight. Australia with the opportunity. ATAR pops attack visor, protected by the Transcendence now. Can they do it? We're in overtime, 99-99. Claire goes down. A trip to BlizzCon on the line. OT ticking away. Oh, restarted again by Japan. Jasper comes back one more time, desuiting the Diva. Australia coming in. They've got to hold this one. Oh, they lose ATAR, though. Kiki responds. There's the kills. Maybe they can do it. Maybe they can push Japan off just in time. OT ticking away. It's so close.
This is how it is on these maps. Japan still maybe has a chance to get back in with that sound barrier.
Sound barrier for Japan, another opportunity, but Jasper popped out of the Diva suit. Once more, OT ticking away. I can't believe it's still going. Now something, there it is! Australia going to BlizzCon!
And I Eat You Up with the huge Pulse Bomb play to stop that AKTM so close to that Dragon Blade. But that is the clutch play you need in this situation. And we'll see them in Anaheim.
I can't believe it. What a performance by Australia to take this one. A well-thought tournament. It's been a pleasure counting it, guys. Don Monte Cristo here. We're going to send it back to the desk to recap that match.
Unbelievable. Congratulations to Australia. They're going to BlizzCon, and they have defeated Japan 3-2. But my goodness, what a battle that was between two incredible teams. You couldn't have asked for it to end any other way, Zoe.
I am excited. I'm happy. This was so tense, and it really came down to that last map, and I'm ever so grateful for that.
It was honestly some of the most intense Overwatch we have seen in all of the World Cup. The Overwatch World Cup has just brought us game after game after game of incredible display, and wow. But James, Japan, unbelievable. I mean, Australia thought this was going to be a cakewalk.
They definitely did, but Japan put up a great fight, and we saw them going for it every single inch of the way. They fought for it. We saw on Dorado how AKTM was able to bring out that McCree and show off his prowess with that hit scan hero, and I'm so impressed by him. So despite the loss, they can walk away with their heads held high, but those are your guys of the hour.
Look at that right there in front of their hometown here in Sydney, Australia. You know, we might as well get another one in there. The Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Go for it, guys. Unbelievable. What a crowd we've had here. And I can't believe it. You saw Uber go on the stage, super excited for his boys. And Flame, I mean, you said that this was going to be an easier game for Australia, but I have to say, man, not the case.
Japan brought it, and they brought it hard, but Australia clearly brought it harder. I Eat You Up, eating everything, took everyone out. There were so many good pulse bombs, so many great players from everybody on that squad. We saw Trill step it up. We saw I Eat You Up step it up. Everybody had a great match. We could not have asked for a better series. Game 5 final for BlizzCon? Please, we need more of this.
I know, I couldn't agree more. And there you see Uber there with the boys as they break down, but I can't believe it. Everyone here has just been an incredible crowd. And give yourselves a round of applause for being awesome. Seriously, great job. Oh boy, I don't even know where to go from here. I mean, you know, we have some highlights. Let's show some highlights, because I mean, it was like a freaking human highlight reel. So let's just go into this here. Zoe.
I mean, this guy by himself is a highlight reel. AKTM impressed us so much on his soldier, on his fantastic stellar performance on the McCree as well, which we got to enjoy throughout all of the past 3 days. So that was just absolutely fantastic. Of course, also Trill, who really stepped it up today.
We really saw the Australian team just rally back behind his play. He started off on King's Row, where he had such a dominant performance, and on almost every single map, we couldn't stop talking about him.
I cannot stress how impressed I am by Atar. I think coming into this tournament, they were actually worried about whether or not he was going to be a part of the team. But you could not ask for a better finals performance from him than I think, like, from anybody. His Genji was stellar. His 76 was stellar. All across that entire series, he had a great performance. And I Eat You Up stepping up at the very end was more than enough. This was so incredible to watch, and I cannot wait for another series like this.
I just loved how well those two teams read each other. You know, like they saw an opening, they saw a weakness in the enemy team, like the Japan backline has been exposed, and Trill was right in there to kill off those supports. And on the other side, Japan also completely went for every mistake they saw from the Australian side.
Yeah, I mean, just call me Jamer-san, because I am a Jamer fan of this Japan team right now. I have to get mine own in there, all right, guys? You all had yours. I'm getting mine in. But it was just such a stellar performance. And once again, Trill, I can't speak enough about this guy. He really did just open up so many opportunities for this Australian team. And I got to imagine a lot of heads are turning towards the OPC region.
Without a shadow of a doubt, these players have opened the eyes of Overwatch fans all across the world. But this Sydney stop, not only was it probably the greatest crowd I've been in front of in the history of my career. Seriously. But on top of that, we had some of the greatest Overwatch that you could possibly ask for. But that's it. That's the end of the show, and unfortunately, we have to end out there. But not really, because Australia is going to BlizzCon, and they are going to be representing their region in Anaheim, California. Now, I have a special announcement to make for our fans over in the United States. We're actually going to be heading over to the Barker Hangar in Los Angeles, California. Tickets will go on sale next week, so I hope you guys bring the noise, just like the way the Aussies did here in Sydney. And finally, our next stop on the 2017 Overwatch World Cup takes us to Katowice, Poland, where we will see some of the best battle it out. And 2 more will punch your ticket to join Sweden, Australia, France, and China at BlizzCon this year. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we appreciate the support online and the support in the house as well. That's going to do it for us here at the desk. For all the casters, the production, Blizzard, T-Mobile, and everyone else, have a great evening. Play more Overwatch.